Hey, whatnots, it is Wednesday, March 13th in the United States of America, and this is What Chaos. I'm DJ Bean, a.k.a. Nick Foligno. Over there bringing the smoke is Sean DePaz, a.k.a. Hookah Pekka. And to my left, we got Sleeve. But if you close your eyes, Iserman. What up, Pete Blackburn?
Sleeve Iserman is pretty sick.
Sleeve. But if you close your eyes, Iserman.
I'm not going to do that part, but I respect it.
We could also do Pete Blackburn, a.k.a. You're beautiful, Fulton Reed.
No.
Fulton Reed. Fucking ripping slappers.
I do.
They inaccurate is this problem.
I do love your impressions of annoying singers.
It takes one to know one, unfortunately.
We had a whole James Blunt podcast,
arc.
Yeah,
I've told you the fun fact about James Blunt before, right?
No,
that he was like a high-ranking, like British security, like he protected the Queen.
I did not know that.
He was like a high-ranking British military officer.
Well,
and then he was just like, "Fuck this."
Seems like the royal family could use him and his services these days because where's Kate, Queen?
I would suggest that maybe they're doing a good job. No, we don't know.
Were you saying where's Kate, Queen in like a The Wire kind of way?
Yeah, like
Queen.
Yeah.
Where's Kate? And they're like, settle down. Where's Kate?
Where's Kate?
Yeah.
Queen? Where's Kate, Queen?
They're like
pulling me out of the room.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know where Wallace was, by the way?
Dead.
He'd been murdered.
He's dead.
Yeah.
I think the same is probably true for Kate.
We discussed, I remember, what would happen if was it One Direction who's saying you don't know you're beautiful?
Yes.
We wanted to add James Blunt to that group so they could go,
you don't know you.
Yeah. You don't know. Oh. That's what makes you beautiful.
That's our crossover that we want.
I would go to that tour over the global series. If I had tickets to that show and we were like, yo, we get to go to Finland, Germany, fucking Japan, like Philadelphia Flyers Pro Shop, all that stuff, I'd be like, sorry, I got Blunts with One Direction now.
Famously, One Direction didn't have one of those like weird old guys in the group. When I feel like every boy band needs like
Kevin.
What the fuck is that guy
Joey.
doing there?
Yeah.
Like, aren't you too old for this shit? The guy that's just like over the hill, but like clinging on to his dream.
No, I like that Kevin was in the Backstreet Boys because Brian famously had cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that they had his older cousin there to like keep an eye on him.
What's the opposite of a Nepo baby? Like a family member, like a Nepo adult, a Nepo cousin?
Well, would we also do the opposite of nepotism if we're doing the opposite of baby and adults?
No, like it's just somebody older who gets a job because their younger relative is employed.
Kevin Dillon.
Kevin Dillon's a pretty good one.
Like that's basically like the plot of the show Entourage, which is the second time this week. Thank you to Johnny Laser. People are calling it Johnny Lazy Wrists because he's not reporting a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I saw some people. Nobody. I just thought of it the other day. How did we never say Johnny Lassie Wrists?
Oh, because of dog
Lassie
house.
is a dog.
Yeah. Nepo.
Oh, you know another one. There are some in hockey. I won't get into them, but where it's like, can my older brother come?
Yeah.
No.
There is also like Nepo younger babies too, obviously, in hockey.
Yeah. But I don't know. It was a good little James Blunt conversation. Thank you to Sean for filling us in. We did a lot of Sabres talk yesterday. Mainly, we want to go overseas, watch the Sabres play. Why would we do that when we can just wait until any time after April 18th this year? Because that's when the Sabres will be playing. I think as we get into fraud and asshole watch, the Sabres are some fucking frauds because they made us think all season that they were dead dogs. Dead dogs.
They did. I'm still not.
They're going to make the playoffs.
I don't know, Jim.
As first reported yesterday by Sean, Sabres are going to make the playoffs.
As first reported in February by me, the Sabres are on playoff watch. I'm going to take the biggest victory lap of all time if the Sabres make the playoffs because I feel fairly confident that I was the only person in February saying that the Sabres were going to make the playoffs.
So I told you, texted me, said, I'm going to take a huge victory lap on the Sabres. I said, yes, do that. You know what I was being? Being a bit of an asshole.
Why?
Because I'd want you to take a victory lap if you deserved it. You're certainly more pro Sabres than like I was. I was all year I've been like, they don't need to make the playoffs. If they don't make it this year, whatever, they can just make it next year. You definitely got out on them. You did not stay on the Sabres.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely not.
So you abandoned them.
I did abandon my boy, but I said in February that they were going to make the playoffs. Who else was saying that? People abandoned them in February.
I don't remember if you said that. The benefit of that is I don't remember you saying they weren't going to make the playoffs. I'm going to take your word for it.
The good news is that there's a clip. There are receipts. The clip exists. I'm looking at Sean. Sean's about to say something.
I just know that I did for sure say they're not making the playoffs.
Oh yeah. I said I'm putting.
Sean's like, if we could settle this by me saying I never fucking believed in this team, let's do that.
I went back and I watched the clip and I said I'm going to put myself out on a ledge. I could potentially look like a gigantic idiot here, but I'm not counting the Buffalo Sabres out for the playoffs. And Sean responded immediately with, "You should." Yeah,
I do remember that.
I remember that distinctly. You should.
Yeah.
And also,
And then I don't want to turn this into pile on Sean hour. But we talked about how they had just recently kicked the shit out of the Los Angeles Kings.
Yes.
And Sean said, the Kings fucking suck.
Yeah.
And then you responded with like, I think me and Pete are just having a really difficult time trying to wrap our head around the fact that the Kings just might actually suck.
Coming to grips with like, yeah, they have 3 centers. Get over it. They suck.
And I said, I don't believe that the Kings suck. So in this receipt, this could be a twofold victory lap for me, saying that the Buffalo Sabres could be a playoff team and the Los Angeles Kings aren't as bad as they look at the current time.
I think Pete is the brightest hockey mind on this show. And I think probably working his way
Frank
up.
Saravalli, who plants all my ideas in my head.
Working his way up to brightest hockey mind in the world.
Yeah.
I would think so.
Thank you.
And it wasn't that he planted. I think that cooler heads have prevailed in the Frank Saravalli planting argument. More it was that it took a couple of minutes for you to be like, fine, we'll discuss this ridiculous thing that won't happen. And what I was saying was like, we don't need someone to report something's happening to discuss whether or not it makes sense. We were trying to have the conversation about like, would it make sense for a team to do something like this? Sean and I had the conversation off the show, which I feel like half of the show was us discussing cooler stuff we said before the show. We're like, we can't take credit for the Tomas Hertl trade happening, but I still kind of want us to, even though we never said Hertl's name once on the show before he was traded, but we at least threw out there, like, can teams call each other and say, you got to hate that contract. Eat a little bit. We'll take the rest of it.
You did break ground on the precedent of retaining money for an absurd amount of time.
We did. And again, I was going to say I don't want to talk about that trade every day. I could talk about that trade every day because like if Tomas Hertl, I think I said this yesterday, if he was a free agent right now, who's fucking giving him 6 times 675? Nobody.
I also want to push back on like my reluctance. I didn't have a reluctance to discuss the Seth Jones trade. Where you got upset was me immediately rejecting it as being a good trade.
Oh, the terms.
Right, like the package.
You are a terms guy.
Now I will say, with hindsight, maybe not such a bad deal because the Sharks got fucking wrecked in that trade.
Okay, so I do disagree on that. So you're the brightest hockey mind. I would say that I'm like the front office insider. I can't be insider because Lazarus has that covered. He's going to get all pissed at us. We don't want to upset. Lazarus is our boss, by the way. He like the hierarchy of the show because he's the insider. It goes Mike Felger, executive producer, Johnny Lazarus, insider, Sean, whatever he wants, and then Pete and I fight for the scraps. But Pete's the brightest hockey mind on the show, possibly in the world. I would say I'm a what would it be? Not insider, but front office
Purveyor.
Yeah. Purveyor sounds very There Will Be Blood.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sean is confirming.
Yeah.
Well, the Sabres told us they were dead dogs all year. We had Rasmus Dahlin on. Seemed like he knew a little something. Like wait until these boys see us. We ain't dead dogs.
He did, but he also had a sense. He also had a little frustration. It seemed like he had a little frustration with how the season was going.
I think he had frustration that a persistent podcast pulled him away from a nice event that he was having with children to come to a hotel bar that we did not have access to. We just set up a show in a hotel bar, told them it's cool. We're doing a show here. And then he came and hung out with us and was tricked into admitting he took the stupidest penalty in the world. But he came around on us, took a picture with Sean. Loved it.
He really great vibes. The Buffalo Sabres have pretty good vibes as a whole right now. They're within 5 points of a playoff spot with 16 games remaining. And their next 2 games, this upcoming stretch is going to be real interesting. Their next 2 games are against the Islanders and the Detroit Red Wings, which happen to be the 2 teams that they're essentially battling right now for that final wild card spot in the Eastern Conference.
I love the scheduling gods. Let me tell you what, March 14th and March 16th, you might not even need to stick around for the end of the show. That slate is getting an A. If there's a big enough game the rest of the way, like if there's one, holy shit, we must all watch this game, which I'm going to the Celtics game tomorrow, so I'm going to miss this one. But A, Buffalo Sabres, Islanders, when everyone's been, instead of doing their jobs, talking about how the Islanders may or may not be in a playoff spot, here come the Sabres, putting their heads down, trading their captain, also trading whatever crybabies may have been on the team to go play for John Tortorella, who is for sure going to make Eric Johnson cry at some point. Sabres kicking ass, despite the fact they're not really even kicking ass. Like, it's not like they're on some unbelievable run.
I mean, they kicked ass last night.
They were great last night.
That's absolutely true. It was a real matchup. I know we talked about this a bit yesterday, but like the Detroit Red Wings are the Sabres from last year. And they are in a bad place right now. We'll talk about them in a little bit, but like the Sabres seem like they've been freed up a little bit. And I don't know if it's the Okposo.
Dad's gone.
Yeah, like the old guys, the slower old guys are gone. The young guys are free to run amok, as they might say. They looked really good, and Bowen Byram, the early returns on Bowen Byram are tremendous.
What a trade. And it was a hockey trade.
It's a hockey trade. Trade that seemingly might be working for both teams because Casey Middlestat scored last night too.
Fuck Casey Middlestat. We're done with him forever.
We're not doing that.
We're off, Casey. I love Casey Middlestat. Same. I did not want the Sabres to trade him. Sean was very sad that they were going to trade him. Saw the return. We were like, wait a second. Got back a defenseman with some offensive punch. Plays the left side. Ooh, boy. That's going to be a balanced roster.
Doesn't just play the left side. Can play both sides.
2 scoops of balanced roster is that Sabres roster. They got the offensive firepower. They got like 4 good defensemen now. 5 if you include Connor Clifton.
Connor Clifton scored last night.
Cannot stop. Connor Clifton, dog.
Yeah, the Sabres blue line, I'll tell you what, might be a problem. And I tried to tell you, I know that you were upset about Casey Middlestat. Try to tell you, brightest hockey mind on this podcast, allegedly. Bowen Byram rules.
Yeah, no, I wasn't really out on Bowen Byram. I was just more concerned about the hands that all of these guys shoot with. But Deline, I believe, has been playing on the right side, and it's working out well.
It's working. It's working. That man cannot stop scoring. What are the numbers? We got the numbers?
Yeah, he's got 2 goals, 4 points, 3 goals, and 1 assist in 3 games since that trade for Casey Middlestat. I am crazy about it for the Sabres. They've been has any team like gotten a spark from selling the way that it might feel like the Sabres have gotten one? And
Previously, the Calgary Flames.
They sold, but also like you throw a hockey trade in there, which hockey trade is your guy for our guy, not a bunch of picks are involved and prospects and hey, we're helping you now, you're going to help us down the road. This is, hey, we have this position, you have that position, let's swap. That's what they call a hockey trade. And that is a great example. A classic hockey trade is Taylor Hall for Adam Larson, which was maligned at the time. Wasn't the end of the world, I would say, for either team. This is my favorite hockey trade in a while.
Yeah, same here. I wouldn't even say what the Sabres did was selling. It was asset management and more like readjusting.
But not in like a shuffling the deck chairs kind of way.
No, it was just
tidying up.
It was trading from a position of strength and addressing a position of also strength that has only gotten stronger. Although I don't think you could say the Sabres had a lot of good defensemen, but I wouldn't call their blue line a position of strength.
Get ready to learn position of strength, buddy. In like 2 years, we're going to say the Sabres blue line is awesome.
I mean, I fucking hope so, as somebody who put a futures on Rasmus Dahlin to win the Norris this year before the season.
Well, that's a great transition because I thought I had done the coolest thing in excitement for the Sabres' current run because yesterday, after the Sabres had scored, I think their 5th goal, I put my money where my mouth was. I said, I'm the only person on this show that was saying in February that the Sabres were going to make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Brett Hockey Mind on the show. Yeah. I bet the Sabres to win the Eastern Conference this year.
Did you?
And I was so excited. I didn't even do that for Sean. What's that?
I mean, why not?
It's not go. I took that as like it's not good behavior.
No, I mean, it's not good behavior, but I love it. I mean, hey, you get one foot, you get in the door. You never know what's going to happen on the other side.
So exactly, like I took it as maybe I end up selling that ticket at some point. Once they make the play, I got them at I think like plus 15,000 or something. I put down $10. I win $1,500 if they win the Eastern Conference. Almost had them to win the cup, but I was like, I don't know if they're getting past the Knights or the Oilers. Let's be realistic here.
They just beat the Oilers. Just saying.
What's that?
So they just beat the Oilers.
They beat the Oilers to kick off this crazy run. And again, the run that they're on is they've won 2 games in a row. Like they had lost the previous 3 games, had 1 point in that stretch. So shout out the teams ahead of them that are maybe playing with their food a little bit. But Sabres on this run. So I said, you know what? Let's, what do we got here? What leftover cash do we have from the Bruins game? I threw $10 on them to win the Eastern Conference. Thought that would be a fun little thing to bring up on the show. And then, you've heard this before, was talking with Sean before the show. Our show prep is us just like sitting around like gabbing with Sean.
Yapping, as some might say.
Yapping?
Yapping is entering into the lexicon.
Is yapping back?
Yeah.
Yapping is derogatory.
Yeah, I would
say
yapping is derogatory.
Yeah.
Like,
Stop yapping.
Bro's just yapping. Like he's just saying shit.
Yeah.
I would say I don't yap. I gab. I for sure gab, and I like to gab. Gabbing is productive.
Gab ass.
Yeah, a little gab ass. But
somebody did say, like, quote tweeted our Rempe reel yesterday with like, do dudes know that they can just sit around and talk? Like you can sit and chat. You don't need a podcast. And I corrected him. I said, chit and chat.
Oh, nice. All right, let me finish. I'll finish my thought after because I like this conversation about gabbing we're having. I tweeted a couple weeks ago, already ready for you losers to retire the word glazing. Get a fucking life. We were texting about it last night. Stop saying glazing, everybody. Every time somebody says something nice about Connor Bedard or Connor McDavid or Travis Kelce. You know why we're glazing? Because they're awesome.
Good.
Because we're just like, hey, how awesome is this person? How cool, how nice is Travis Kelce? Whatever. I'm also getting sick of you don't have to start a podcast that you then tweeted. You don't have to fucking tweet. We don't have to do any of this fucking shit. But if there's money to be made and if there's fun to be had, baby, let's do it. I wouldn't know Sean if it weren't for the fact that we started a podcast.
Also, like, not to be all hipstery or whatever, this podcast is relatively new. We started in November. Me and DJ, we've been podcasting since before podcasting was cool.
I do like, though, that as people are checking this out for the first time, have you noticed there's like a lot of, there's been a lot of chemistry talk.
Oh, really?
They're like, these two have a good rapport. And I'm like,
yeah, we just fucking haven't left each other's side in 10 years.
Yeah, like we're very old. We're very sick.
Stay tuned for the Jesus and Mero fallout that's inevitably going to come.
Yeah. Which one of us would be like, let me just be a fucking dad, man?
Me.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
I'm the type to abandon my boy.
That's true.
As a true oil man, I'd be like, fuck.
Committing to the bit.
Yeah, I'd have to abandon the boy. But I thought placing a future was the cool thing to do with the Sabres, and that's the craziest thing you can do in reaction to what the Sabres are doing right now. Nay, Sean, what did you say you did out of excitement while watching the Sabres last night?
I started learning German.
Oh my God.
JJ Paterka scored. It was like the 5th goal of the day or whatever. And I was just like, I had Duolingo on my phone. I was like, fuck it. We're learning German.
That is endearing the most Sean thing ever.
Yeah.
I know.
That is
What a game. Did you see the third period? Oh, well, like the first couple periods were so good and JJ Paterka was playing so well that I began to learn German.
Sean is such a nerd that he was like, this hockey game is so exciting, I'm going to learn a different language now.
I know how to like order a coffee. I can say like, ich bin groß und klug, which means I am tall and smart. They haven't gotten to the derogatory things yet. Like I can only compliment people and order coffee and milk and wine and beer.
Sean is just researching how to compliment himself in several different languages.
Well, they were
and also get coffee.
They were teaching you like how to compliment family members. So I can like mein Vater ist klug, I guess. My father is smart. That's like all that I've learned.
I can't wait until we make a reel of us gushing about the Sabres. And it's like, I knew they'd be able to make a run. I bet them to win the Eastern Conference. I've begun to learn German.
That would be a great, the chat saying, get ready to learn German, buddy. That would be a great tagline for like the Sabres if they continue to keep this up. And just be like, instead of like Sabres are a wagon, like everybody posts on fucking Twitter. Just if you listen to this show and the Sabres keep with this up, every Sabres win, you have to tweet, like, get ready to learn German, buddy.
Somebody did ask in the chat who ordered the Yappuccino while we're ordering coffee over here.
Nice.
Pretty good.
Kaffee.
What's that?
Kaffee.
Kaffee.
Kaffee und Milch. Coffee and milk.
Coffee and milk. How about Prize Picks and milk? Because we're a little late.
Prize Picks und Milch.
What's this?
Prize Picks und Milch.
Prize Picks and milk. I'll tell you what, German's a tough language.
German is a tough language. I did actually try and take German for because I had to take a language in college, and I got there and I had the most terrifying 8-foot tall German woman ever try to teach me it, and I was just like, oh, I heard the sentence structure is the same. This should be easy. It wasn't.
On the subject of glazing, Sean, we talked about how this podcast is about what we talk about with Sean, about just like what a time to have good fucking athletes. Connor McDavid, Connor Bedard, who we'll talk about the Blackhawks because boy, are they on a run. They might meet the Sabres in the Stanley Cup this year. It can happen. We'll tell you how. But you got all these great players. Caitlin Clark, incredible. I am so excited to watch Caitlin Clark and all of these other fantastic college basketball players. See if my fellows from UConn can do it again. What a run they had last year.
I hate UConn, but probably a good way to make some money.
You know I'm going to be watching all that basketball and maybe even doing a little DFS. And when I do it, it's going to be with Prize Picks because football season may be over, but we know that the action on the floor is heating up. Tournament season, it's right around the corner, and you can get in on the excitement with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, where you can turn your hoops knowledge into serious cash and even push back on some potentially problematic topic choices from Andrew Schultz on podcasts. Shout out Shane Gillis. Andrew Schultz is right there if you want to say, hey, why don't you choose your topics a little better, bud?
Andrew Schultz, respect.
Respect?
Stay in that community section.
That's the thing. He's still a good community guy.
Yeah. He's all about the community.
He's a community player.
Not every community, though, if you ask Shane Gillis.
Yeah. I thought it was good. I thought it was a nice conversation that hopefully it's like, hey, that's not funny. Here's why I think it's not funny. Shane Gillis standing up for what's right. You can now win up to 100x your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You could turn $10 into $1,000 with NBA, NHL, and college basketball entries today on Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Go to prizepicks.com/whatchaos and use code whatchaos for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/whatchaos and use code whatchaos. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
I want to take a look at the playoff percentages at this point in time. We have a nice little update from our guy, Greg Wyshynski. We're talking about the Sabres on the playoff chase. Right now, they are at 5.4% to make the playoffs, according to Stathletes, which is a tick above the New Jersey Devils, which seems disrespectful. We know the Devils aren't making the fucking playoffs. They suck ass. The Sabres, I don't know how these percentages are calculated, but I don't buy them because Sabres are at 5.4%. The Red Wings are at 19.2%. Those teams just below the Capitals and Islanders, which I'm going to fall asleep talking about the Capitals and Islanders. I do want to talk about the Red Wings because the Red Wings are in an absolute tailspin. They got their asses kicked by Buffalo last night. They are a fucking fraudulent team. They are a fraudulent team, as fraudulent as they come. I've been saying this for quite some time. Not buying the Red Wings. The Red Wings without Dylan Larkin are awful.
Yeah, and do we get on Steve, but if you close your Yzerman for not stopping the bleeding at the deadline, or is he smart to say, you know what, we're kind of crashing back down to earth? I've had a tough time telling whether the Rangers have like come back to earth or just like what they are, because it feels like they're either surging or they're crashing back down to earth. I don't know if they've ever really made it to earth, though, because they're just always yo-yoing as much as they are. We didn't think they'd be world beaters this year. They got off to a fun start. I think by and large, it's probably smart that they didn't do anything big or sell at the deadline. But if you've had a mostly positive season and you're hitting a skid around the trade deadline, like that's the team that I wish would do the Pat Maroon thing. You know, like that just get somebody, say, here, attaboy, and go from there. But I think this is a team that knows it's not great shakes.
You know who would be a nice little fit on the Detroit Red Wings? Would have been a nice deadline splash.
Oh, are you going to say Andrew Peeke?
No. I'm going to say Tomas Hertl. Tomas Hertl going to the Red Wings would have made a lot of sense given their timeline. Given if Steve Yzerman pulled that off, people would have been like, this guy is a magician. And there would have been a lot of glazing, if you will.
There would have been glazing. I'll give you this, though. Yzerman does get glazed a lot. That's very true.
He gets glazed and he gets blazed a lot. He famously smokes a bunch of weed.
They've been careful. We'll get back to that. They've been more careful with their money than I thought they would be. Like when Tyler Bertuzzi was twisting in the wind.
Oh, Steve Yzerman loves being careful and being cautious and being patient.
Yeah, but when he was twisting in the wind in free agency, meaning like when it took him like a day to sign in free agency, it's like, Red Wings? No? Why wouldn't they? Like, they could basically have gotten a free first-round pick. What are you doing? And they held off. So they're careful.
They're careful, maybe a bit too careful. They need center help real bad. They had JT Compher as 1C last night, Joe Veleno. You look at the numbers without Dylan Larkin in the lineup the last 4 games, it has been tough.
Not a good scene.
He's been out since March 4th with a lower body injury. Going to be out for like probably another week. They're 0-4. They've been outscored 5-19 at 5-on-5, 8-23 overall. They look like a mess. I do also want to point out this streak is extended beyond Larkin's absence. They've lost 6 in a row, but they're 0-5 since introducing a jersey patch. And I never thought I'd see the day where the Detroit Red Wings had a jersey patch. They're very, very protective over their brand. Famously, when the reverse retros were mandated, the Red Wings were like, all right, we don't want to do this. We will do the least amount of work possible and trot out this very lazy reverse retro. I think the Red Wings maybe messed with the juju a little bit with the jersey patch. 0-5 since then. I think they're going to fall out of contention. I could easily see the Sabres hopping them.
So that's the thing. Like, who are they catching? Is it the Islanders? Is it the Red Wings? Like, who ends up?
Are you talking the Sabres?
Yeah,
I think I could see the Sabres hopping the Red Wings and making it a real photo finish with the Islanders.
Ooh, I would love a photo finish. Do you know what happens if there's going to be a photo finish? Actually, probably not. I'm for whatever gets us on that John Hines 3-on-3. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We need these 2 points.
Well, I did want to. I wanted to bring up because I had this thought last night. Like usually around this time of year, I'll hit the point where I'm just over the regular season and I want to fast forward to the playoffs. The playoffs are sneaking up. They're starting in like a little over a month. I am surprised that I haven't hit like an exhaustion point, especially doing the show every day. I don't know if it's helped more than I've expected. Or if just this season has been incredible, because this season has had no shortage of entertainment, no shortage of storylines to keep an eye on. It's been exciting start to finish.
Yeah, we've got some stuff in the hopper, things that we can put together and put out there. And you texted yesterday being like, hey, we should like figure out which things we want to put out there. So I made a little calendar doc thing of like, all right, remaining weeks, what can we drop when? And I was like, there's 5 of them. Holy, like the season is over. I'm not sick of the regular season at all. I'm like, I still want there to be more fun, surprising, like, oh, like I loved the Here Come the Sharks week and a half.
Yeah.
Best week and a half. I want there to be another. Right now we're in a Here Come the Sabres. We'll talk in a second about how the Blackhawks are probably going to make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I want more of those fun. Like I don't want it to settle just yet.
Like
I'm about to.
I'm going to be upset when the bad teams are out of the picture. And I'm going to be upset when the slate is trimmed down. I know playoff hockey is the fucking best. And once it gets started, I will never look back. But I'm having a lot of fun with this regular season, both at the top of the standings and at the bottom of the standings, and somewhat in between too. But I'm just kind of surprised that I haven't hit an exhaustion point. Maybe we may be suffering from maybe the Sabres discussion is a bit of a product of please make the playoff race a bit interesting down the last 4 or 5 weeks, because for a while it has looked like the playoff picture is largely set. There's not a ton in flux there, but maybe we can will it into existence. Maybe we can power the Buffalo Sabres to make things interesting.
I just feel like the Capitals are being drastically overlooked. They have 3 games in hand on the Sabres and 2 points ahead.
Cap stink.
I agree, but I'm just saying they are as much of an obstacle for the Buffalo Sabres as the Red Wings or the Islanders.
The only obstacle for the Buffalo Sabres are themselves, as is always the case.
I mean, sure, in theory, but I mean, mathematically speaking, they are.
I don't care about math. That's nerd shit.
He's a hockey mind.
That's right.
Not a math mind.
The Buffalo Sabres are infinitely more talented than the Washington Capitals, and if they play to the best of their ability, they will clear the Caps.
The Capitals making the playoffs would be the most get this team out of my fucking face team in my sporting existence since the 2023 Miami Heat.
Them taking the Bruins in
famous
7.
last words. That team ended up making it to the NBA Finals. But when I had to watch the Heat, even in playing games, I was like, oh my God, they suck. They're old. They have one fucking guy and a bunch of whatever around them. Get this off my TV. And I don't we're not like huge get this off my TV guys. We will put up with a lot from sports we like, but the Capitals in the playoffs would for sure be get this off my TV.
I would be so in on it. Only because like most of the teams in the Eastern Conference I hate, and so watching the Capitals who are just terrible, and the last time we talked about the Capitals was, will Ovi ever score another goal again? It would be awesome to watch either the Leafs or the Bruins like have their dreams crushed by the Washington fucking Capitals.
But Sean, that's the thing. They could only disrupt by being there. They couldn't disrupt any team. They would dash nobody's hopes. And I know I just compared them to the Heat that upset everybody and made it to the NBA Finals, but they would be food. The Capitals would be such fucking food.
Like it's not like they would. Chances are they're not going to get the Bruins. They're not going to get the Leafs. They're not going to get one of those teams that you hate. They're going to get like the Panthers or the Rangers. And if they were to knock out the Panthers or the Rangers, I don't think anybody would be happy about it.
Yeah, it'd be bad behavior.
Yeah, the Panthers. I wouldn't care if they knocked out the Rangers. And I could give tickets about them.
I feel bad just like completely dumping on the team because like this is a league podcast. I would like for Caps fans to like us, but like you can't be rooting for your team to make the playoffs, right?
I will say if we're in July and we're talking about, hey, remember how Ovi just won the Conn Smythe? That'd be pretty fun.
People would be throwing food on the ice to shove it in our face. Oh, we're food, huh? Yeah.
I'm sorry, Capitals fans, but I don't want any part.
I don't know. I think you've kind of just turned me into a little bit of a Capitals. Outside of the fact that them making the playoffs almost guarantees the fact that the Sabres don't.
You are a capitalism guy, so right? Would you consider yourself a? You're a don't be surprised by capitalism guy.
Yeah, I am a
realist.
Yes, exactly.
You're like, I know the world in which I live.
It's like when Austin Eckler was complaining about not getting paid enough. I'm like, this is how the world works. Why are you surprised by this? That's me.
Sean, can I reveal your age?
Sure.
You're a 25-year-old kid. I love that like this brain is inside.
This is how the world works.
Grow up, Austin. Do you not understand capitalism? I love Sean so much. Okay, we've been burying the lead this entire show. The Blackhawks are uneliminating themselves from the playoffs. They were officially eliminated from playoff contention on Sunday, and since then have won back-to-back games for just the second time this year. 7 goals in each game. They beat the Coyotes 7-4, and they beat the Ducks 7-2 last night. Connor Bedard, 5 points. 1 goal and 4 assists Tuesday against the Ducks. I don't know if you saw him in like the post-game on bench interview. He was like, who gives a fuck? I got cups to win. I love Connor Bedard so much. We were saying he's been punching stuff on the bench. He's going to be a problem. I was maybe a little early on by the end of the year. We'd be talking about him as the second best player in the league. We are at least talking about him as, are you seeing this fucking kid? And I will take that. I love him so much.
On the bench interview, I think Jenna Rose is the sideline reporter, was like, Blackhawks original 6 franchise, been around forever. You have tied the rookie single game points record with 5 points. How does it feel?
He was like, what else you got?
His answer was like, yeah, it's good.
He was like, I never thought about that once.
He's the best. On the Connor Bedard subject, Connor Bedard, if you've been watching him lately, looks way better than we've seen him ever. He has been significantly better than he was at the beginning of the season.
I don't know if you heard Nick Foligno after the game. He was like, I hope you guys are noticing that like he's learning how to play hockey, which is not something that I thought would happen this quickly. Like he knows where to go. He knows like
he's finding space. He's loading up.
Yeah, he knows when to slow up. Which I want to be like, Nick, look at his line mates.
We've had this discussion. We saw you guys mic'd up.
Yes, but I like that Nick. I mean, God bless Nick Foligno. He was so happy after the game, more so than Bedard. I think that Bedard's like, you can glaze all you want. Respectfully, I'm not taking it right now because I'm working on something. You ever hear that expression?
Yeah.
I'm working on something.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning
in the lab.
Yeah. Like Connor Bedard is working on something. So everybody's all excited about he's setting this record he's doing this thing in this few amount of games. Connor Bedard for sure is like, you can have fun with my rookie card. I am working on a Stanley Cup right now. and that he has that in his brain, and he's not saying it, but clearly he's like, I'm not throwing any parades until it's actual parade time. I love that out of my 18-year-old rookie.
Something sneaky winner from the Blackhawks being good is the PWHL, because if we had the PWHL draft rules, the Blackhawks are looking real good. Get eliminated and immediately start winning games.
So, Sean, if listeners don't know, tell them.
Yeah, the PWHL, like essentially when you get eliminated from playoff contention, it basically works in reverse order, where the more games you win after being eliminated, the better chance you have of getting the first overall draft pick. And so now the Blackhawks have got eliminated and they started winning games. They'd be in prime position for Macklin Celebrini.
Which I love that rule.
I like it too, and I think that you need to figure out some stuff with like, would it go by points, winning percentage, things like that? Because if you get eliminated the last game of the season,
well, that's kind of the point.
Yeah,
like they want you to,
and that's right. That like if you just miss the playoffs,
you shouldn't have a good.
You shouldn't have the first overall pick.
Like, yeah.
It also begs like the question: what happens if you like start sitting guys around this time of year just so that you can expedite the elimination, and then like it's essentially like the LTIR conversation for playoff teams. It's like you LTIR guys or whatever, keep them out until you're eliminated, and then suddenly they're ready to go. And you start playing with a full lineup.
If they did this type of rule, Sean, for the Hart Trophy, I think that Seth Jones would win it, because since we traded him, he has been on fire. Another goal last night. Guy is hitting the Heffernan. I mean, you can see the Heffernan more watching a Blackhawks game than watching the CW from like during break hours if you're working at a grocery store.
I don't know about that.
You ever sit around the grocery store break room and watch King of Queens all day?
King of Queens and Yes Dear were constantly on in the break room at the supermarket.
At Shaw's?
Yes.
They're just hammering King of Queens and Yes Dear.
Yes Dear and King of Queens. Just like the ultimate duo at Shaw's.
New listeners, by the way, if you're new recently, we have a lot of good player guests on. So when we're referring to that stuff, like we've had Connor Bedard on, we've had Seth Jones on, Nick Foligno, that is a brag, Lena Solmark, Jeremy Swayman, Brad Marchand. We talked earlier about Rasmus Dahlin. So check out those if you haven't seen them yet. They're
also
a lot
hit the like button.
Like
Spike. We got a like Spike. Spike that like. Grab the like. Grab the like and spike it. That's grab the dick and twist it. And also, if you're not subbed, please hit the sub button on the YouTube channel. Thank you very much.
But yes, Seth Jones, another goal last night, 7 points, 3 goals in his last 4 games. Pardon my French.
Don't let him get hot.
Damn.
Hell yeah.
Damn, Seth Jones.
I mean, Nick Foligno, 4 points last night. Huge night for friends of the podcast.
Wow.
Love
they
that.
are. Can we petition the NHL to just be like, look, we know they're probably not going to make the playoffs, but open it back up.
Open it back up.
Just open it.
I'll take it one step further. Maybe they'll win the President's Trophy. They are cooking right now.
Oh, we should do a PWHL draft type of thing where we make like a President's Trophy for teams once they're eliminated.
I like that.
Blackhawks are running away with it right now.
Running away with it.
Nothing but respect for my president, Anthony, our guy at the Blackhawks. Oh my God,
love Anthony so much. The haters might say, fellas, slow your roll a little bit. They've won games against the Arizona Coyotes and the Anaheim Ducks, 2 of the worst teams in hockey, in which I would respond, go fuck yourself. Because it's the Chicago Blackhawks, and you don't get to pull that card when we're talking about the Chicago Blackhawks, who have been like historically bad for most of this year. Absolutely painful. Yeah, tossing the coffee. They have been awful. You don't get to pull that card with, they're doing it against bad opponents. Shut the fuck up.
Well, then what shall they do?
And
shall they also lose to bad opponents?
And
conversation we had off air, the Coyotes are playing with 6 men on the ice half the time.
That's true.
It's not like they're playing at a disadvantage.
Constant power plays. I feel so happy for my Chicago Blackhawks friends, because they deserve this for how much they've put up with this team and how bad this team has been for a large portion of the year. These past few days have got to feel amazing. Number one, you're seeing your team score 7 goals in back-to-back games. I would have told you like a month ago, it'd be more likely that like Jesus himself would fall out of the sky and land and save the world.
So then they would have 2 Connor Bedards?
And then the Blackhawks scoring fucking 7 goals in back-to-back games. Absolutely no chance I'd see that coming. And number 2, like you're seeing Bedard get better. You're seeing the players around Bedard get a little bit better. Things are coming together for Blackhawks fans, and it's got to feel great.
I'm over here watching Blackhawks games. And that's the thing. Like, I never stopped watching the Blackhawks. Obviously, when you're in Chicago, you still go to games. I still like the roster. I like the team. Like yesterday, I'm watching a fucking Blackhawks game, and I'm like, Ryan Donato, sheesh. No one's saying that. But they're a fun roster, and who knows which of them are going to be there when the team's good again. But, God, let them play well. Let them get a little pep in their step, because that stuff does carry over to the next year.
While we're talking about the Ducks and how much they suck, they've allowed 19 goals in the last 3 games.
It's not good behavior.
It's not good behavior whatsoever.
They kept Frank Petrano, though.
They did keep Frank Petrano. I'm glad they did.
Do you think that Frank's like, wish I wasn't wearing this fucking shirt?
Probably, maybe. They also kept John Gibson, who for the second time in a couple of years has tried to fight somebody else on the other side of the ice. Or maybe he just wanted to cross the center ice line and get ejected from that game, which I couldn't blame him. But
Mista, get me out of here.
Get me out of here. John Gibson tried to fight Peter Mrazek last night. Fucking asshole refs. We're skipping asshole watch straight to asshole. The refs that stood in the way of that goalie fight, the second time John Gibson has been prevented from fighting another goalie by the refs. If you are a ref and you prevent a goalie fight, straight to jail.
It's horrible behavior.
Straight to jail. That is absolute narc doghouse behavior. Get the fuck out of the league. Even coming from you, who hates fighting.
Yeah.
Give us goalie fights.
Yeah, and I typically am not overly turned on by a goalie fight, but I like to see it. I know that it's usually not the craziest thing in the world.
It's about the ceremony.
Yes, exactly. You see, they're just so big.
They're wearing so much clothes.
It's in The Office when they have to do like the sumo wrestler like bumping thing. It's just a funny visual.
It is funny that like the two things that hot-blooded real men love so much is like naked oil wrestling, and then the opposite of that, which is fully clothed, extra clothed, very bulky goalie fighting.
They are the worst fights ever, but also
they're so bad most of the time.
I mean, the big day for a lot of things that we talk about off air. I've said it many times. Formative hockey memory was Ray Emery versus Marty Biron. The best is when it just the thing I like most about goalie fights is usually if there's a goalie fight, that means all hell is breaking loose.
Yeah,
and then like the best part of that Emery fight was the fact that a skater came over and dropped Ray Emery, and it was like, okay, here we go, chaos.
I wish that goalies were mic'd up at all times, and
agreed.
That they tell them, they're like, hey, you won't be hot the whole game, but this is just in case there's a goalie fight. We're just wondering what it sounds like when a goalie is on their way to a goalie fight.
Yeah.
Because you're so big, you're so slow. I love the idea of just like getting that audio of like, here I go, you motherfucker.
I feel like there's either guys are either like, all right, I'm going to kick someone's ass, or another one was like, why'd you have to get involved?
Oh no, John Gibson wanted all this.
No, that's what I'm saying.
John Gibson was like horny.
I wasn't saying about Gibson. I'm just saying I feel like for goalies in general, like there's got to be a time where it's just like we have a little bit of an unspoken rule that if you don't get involved, I don't get involved, and then you got involved, so now I got to skate my ass down the ice and fight somebody.
I thought that was good for John Gibson's brand last night. He had some like sexy energy coming across that center ice line. He came from the bench. We talked about this before. He was like holding the stick. He did like a little bit of like a showman, like towel around the head sort of stick thing, and then throws it. And he had that psychotic smile on his face as he was trying to fight Peter Mrazek the whole time. So shout out John Gibson.
Last two things on goalies. It goes back to the Sabres. Sean, we haven't talked about UPL got run twice last night in the Red Wings game.
Yeah.
And as I was watching that, I was like, God, we're having fun with the Sabres. The only thing that could set this back literally 10 years would be touching their goalie. Please, Red Wings, don't touch their goalie.
There's precedent for that.
Sabres don't know what to do with that. They're not going to do anything, and then they're going to freak out this offseason. Please. So I'm holding my breath on how they react, because there might be a timed release situation there where the team implodes this offseason and is a mess for the next 10 years.
I don't like how you guys talk about what happened to Ryan Miller. So there's that.
He's a little bitch.
Better goalie than
bitch, and then the franchise fell apart.
Ruined the team.
Better goalie than has ever played in Boston, but that's neither here nor there. The one I missed one of the runs of UPL. The other one, he was like out of the crease, and it was a complete accident. I was still upset that no one immediately, like, I feel like in those situations, if your goalie gets touched, you immediately got to kick someone's ass, even if it's nobody's fault. Like, even if it's the goalie's fault, you got to fight. And no one did anything. No one even like looked upset. And I was like, I don't really like that, but it is what it is.
I just want to say,
it's a real piece of shit.
What a piece of shit.
Which, I mean, like, that take has aged.
I mean, lawsuit. There was anyway. In that moment, I thought Ryan Miller was the man for that. I was like, fuck yeah. Hockey players are calling each other pieces of shit.
Oh, yeah.
To the press. Yeah. Like, right down. Milan Lucic.
Wish that it came from anybody but Ryan Miller, though. Like,
who is like celebrity in Boston, like does all the like these like is a fan favorite, does like all this charitable stuff and everything. Ryan Miller's like, and that's SHIT. Write it down. Fuck that guy.
Last note on the Chicago Blackhawks in that game last night. As a result of that, this blazing win streak by the Chicago Blackhawks, the San Jose Sharks have taken the best odds for Macklin Celebrini in the draft lottery right now.
Okay, I've been doing Sharks mock drafts. That's all I can think about.
Yeah.
I want the Sharks to be back quickly. I want them to re-sign some of their guys. Anthony Duclair, let's get you back there after you win a cup with the Lightning this year. I want everybody. I want Chris Rock at the beginning of the movie Spiral. I want everything. I want Macklin Celebrini. I want them trading back into the first round and getting T. Ginla. Do whatever you want after that. You could trade your whole draft if you'd like. I want a Sharks Ginla jersey. I want Macklin Celebrini on the Sharks. I want to have a sit down with David Quinn and Mike Greer at the Sphere, if James Dolan will let us. Probably not.
Maybe not.
If James Dolan squashed that, if like we used like Boston relationships to set up a cool Sharks sit down and James Dolan said, not in my house, that would suck. But I want us to become more of a Sharks podcast. Loved that week and a half. They were good this year. I want everything for that team. What do you like? Is there a place where you want Celebrini more than other spots?
There is a place where I don't want him more than anywhere else, and it is the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Pittsburgh Penguins are falling apart right now. They are horrendous. They have been outscored. What is it now? I want to say like 17-2 in the last 4 games.
Can I chime in for a second?
Yeah.
The Penguins do have the Penguins' first round pick is protected. So if they won the lottery,
they would get Macklin Celebrini.
I don't want that either.
Yeah, come on.
And that would guarantee, like, I do want Crosby to go somewhere else. That would guarantee
that
he's not leaving.
Yeah, I don't want to see teams accidentally fall into Macklin Celebrini. That's saying like I want to reward tanking, but I kind of want to reward tanking.
I love that we have sports nerds in our chat on our show. They're doing the NBA Twitter thing of I said I want the Sharks to get T. Ginla. People in the chat saying Ginla's going to Detroit, actually. That's a very like sports Twitter thing.
Oh, yeah.
Of like actually, I've decided this team.
He's already landed
People
there.
are already claiming like the 12th best prospect in the 2024 NHL draft. Fuck yeah. God bless.
Yeah. Penguins suck. Just don't want to see Macklin Celebrini in a Penguins uniform. We do need to talk about the Oilers. I'm gonna let you solo podcast on the Oilers real quick because I gotta make a run.
What are you doing?
I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta pee really bad.
The Oilers are back. I didn't really have anything prepared on this, but I could do it very easily. Oilers tonight play the Capitals, and this is a huge game for the show. A, Oilers haven't played in 2 games since they smoked the Penguins 4-0 on Sunday. And B, we want the Capitals solution. If the Oilers beat the Capitals, that helps our Sabres. It moves it back up a little bit.
Yes, it is huge for the Sabres watch.
And what I love about the Oilers right now is they're in exploration mode with their new lines because they got Adam Henrique. And we talked about, now you have Henrique, Nugent-Hopkins, and Draisaitl, who can all either play second line, third line center, or first line left wing with Connor McDavid. Right now, the way the Oilers have it, they got the Nuge on the left wing of Connor McDavid. And what I love about that is Nugent-Hopkins, McDavid, Hyman, Sean, still a super line.
Yeah.
That's still like holy fuck, that team is loading up, right?
Yeah. No. I mean, I've just had to say this. Draisaitl, second best German player in the NHL. But yeah, I mean, that was the whole thing for the Oilers is kind of the ability to get Draisaitl to the second line or something like that. And yeah, have like 2 legit lines. Because
Draisaitl now you got riding with Warren Fogle, who I'd been trying to trade for like a month. But your third line is Evander Kane, Adam Henrique, Connor Brown. That is a real second line.
Yeah.
I love it so much. So we were talking about, you made a mistake saying talk about the Oilers for a second. They're still doing a super line thing, but they're doing it without having to use Leon Draisaitl, which is exactly what we were saying they could do if they got Adam Henrique. Oilers' first line right now, or at least last game, was Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Connor McDavid, Zach Hyman. That on any other team is a shit. Save some fucking for the rest of us.
Yeah.
And they're still letting Draisaitl have a line and Adam Henrique have a line.
I don't know if I like it though. I would obviously rather see Draisaitl with McDavid. I want Nugent-Hopkins to center his own line, and I want it to be their shutdown line. I'm like steering directly into Ryan Nugent-Hopkins doesn't care about offense. He just wants to be like Philip Deneau.
Which is for sure fan fiction on our part.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's just we've seen him make 2 very loud defensive plays. I'm totally on board with that.
Yeah.
Next time he scores a goal, we're going to be like, did you know that isn't even his thing? He doesn't even like doing that. He likes making defensive plays.
I'm like always a big fan of line identities, and like a line that's maybe super well-rounded is exciting, but also a line that only does one thing but does it incredibly well. That piques my interest just as much as a well-rounded line. Just a team that's all offense, all foot to the gas, and then on the opposite end, just a team that gets a line that gets caved in but doesn't give up anything.
Last Oilers point I'll make, Sean, do you have the NHL statistical thing, NHL Next, whatever they call it? They put out this graphic, and boy, oh boy, did I get sent this by everybody. Top goal scorers by area. And if you look around, you'll see they'll have, hey, this guy scores 5 goals from here, 7 goals from here. And then right in front of the goalie's penis is Zach Hyman with 31 goals from right in the house. None of the other guys on this, and they've got what? There's probably like 10, 12 people there. None of them have double-digit goals from their hottest area. Zach Hyman, 31 from right in front of the net.
That's hilarious. 2 ones that popped out to me were Drew Doughty with 9 goals at the top of the zone between the 2 points. That's very, very cool. Drew Doughty rocks. And then Brock Besser with 2 goals from the neutral zone, which I would assume both are empty netters, but like that's kind of cool that he's just a long distance sharpshooter.
You know who I like on there is our guy Dmitry Voronkov.
Where is he?
See him? He is to Philip Forsberg's right. Yeah, there you go, Sean.
Well, I did want to talk about Philip Forsberg because Philip Forsberg is somehow like even closer than Zach
That's
Hyman.
what I was going to say. You said Hyman is right in front of the goalie's penis. What does that make Forsberg?
That means that Philip Forsberg is inside the goalie.
Making love.
He has scored, what is that, 8 goals inside the goalie?
The goalie is the whale and Philip Forsberg is Pinocchio.
That's
fair enough.
Right?
Good call. Yeah.
Does Pinocchio get swallowed by a whale?
Buddy, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Big time.
Really? I thought that was, isn't it Moby Dick where
Moby Dick
lives
is
inside
like
the whale?
Whole other thing.
It's a different.
Moby
But he lives inside the whale, right?
No, they're like hunting Moby Dick in Moby Dick.
But doesn't Moby Dick swallow the ship and the guy?
I don't know if I've read all of Moby Dick, but I just know that
Pinocchio lived inside a whale.
Pinocchio got like swallowed by a whale.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which now that we bring that up, I don't know. I haven't seen all of or Pinocchio in a very long time. I don't know how you get from being a puppet in a shop to living in a whale. I don't really know how that story gets there.
It's a. I'll tell you what.
Forsberg on asshole watch.
I would argue he's just on asshole.
You know who needs? You know what needs a Blumhouse adaptation?
James and the Giant Peach.
Pinocchio. This fucking wooden guy who should just be okay with what he's got. And he's like, you know what, I'd rather be a real boy. So some crazy ass guy makes him a real boy, and then a whale eats him. And it's like, that's what happens to real boys. You happy now? Now you're fucking living it. Now you got a whale on your case.
You ever see the tweet that's like, me and my friends would kill E.T. with hammers? I'll tell you that much.
No.
Yeah, that's a great tweet. Me and my friends would kill Pinocchio with axes. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
just chop the shit out of that wood asshole.
Like, I feel like
as he was coming to life, you'd be like, it's moving.
Yeah, I feel like they make the wrong people the bad guys in some of these. Like, if a puppet starts coming to life, you should murder it on spot.
You should absolutely kill it
on spot.
Yes.
Yeah. And if it's talking to a fucking cricket, kill the cricket.
You know who would? I'm stealing this from a person in the chat. So we love to discuss that the original director of Jaws, before Steven Spielberg, Jaws made Steven Spielberg's career, of course, but the original director, Dick Richards, was fired because he kept referring to the shark as a whale. Somebody in the chat said that Pinocchio was actually eaten by a shark. Nice. Shout out Dick Richards in the chat. I will tell you, though, look behind me, man. I've got a type. We got...
that is so true.
Zach Hyman,
smokes.
But we've talked about this. Like, I like the guys who go to the front of the net and score 1 million goals off their ass.
To be fair, though, Philip Forsberg has range to his game.
Mm-hmm.
He's just happened to score 9 goals, apparently, inside a goalie's asshole.
He only has 8-9 goals from the asshole, where like Zach Hyman is still the net front guy.
Like 31 goals is a larger percentage of his overall body of work, as opposed to Philip Forsberg's 9 goals. Probably a smaller percentage.
And my guess would be if he's got 31 of his 43 goals from right there, I would guess 6 or 7 of them are from
just outside of that.
Are from the Forsberg spot. Are from a little closer.
That's
like,
true.
Let's not act like Hyman isn't in the asshole.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Like, if there's a spot closer to the net than what Zach Hyman is scoring 31 goals from, then Zach Hyman's scoring more goals from even closer.
He's scoring some from there as well.
Yeah.
I think that everybody's understood this.
Very good
It's
point.
an astute, I'm a front office guy. I'm also a net front guy. But yeah, you look at the names I got back there. I got Forsberg, Hyman, JVR, who, baby, that's his bread and butter. And I also, I got Dave as well. Got DJ Bean there. Shout out Anthony from the Blackhawks. Gave me that jersey.
There you go.
We love him so much. And, ooh, man, we're going to have to get some, why can't I think of our maligned, Kirill Marchenko. We got some
maligned.
Yeah. Who's our, look at my maligned Russian player.
Who is my tortured boy?
Yeah. That was Trump at a rally seeing Kirill Marchenko. Where is he? Look at my maligned forward.
My maligned Russian boy.
Yeah.
Kirill Marchenko has no points over his last 5 games.
It's
well, that's because they won't let him play.
I know.
Those are 5 games that he played.
That's because looks like that reset did a lot of good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You ruined him.
Yeah.
Wait to go. No, I lied. He has an assist in those 5 games. Sorry.
Woo, heating up.
1 assist over those 5.
Before we get out of here, do want to talk about the NHL to Atlanta stuff that came out yesterday.
Yeah.
The Alpharetta Sports and Entertainment Group, fronted by former NHL player Anson Carter, has formally requested expansion to Atlanta for a 3rd time. How do we feel?
Love it.
Yeah?
I like it more than, no offense, any Utah listeners. I want it more than Utah. And I think that if we go to Atlanta, or if we, hockey, go to Atlanta, we could do it a little differently this time. I like Anson Carter fronting it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, Sean?
I mean, I just think if they're going to do it, they need to make it black as shit.
There we go. I love it.
There's that. And also, I like the idea of them going to a market that's failed multiple times already. So people shut the fuck up about Arizona, which they probably won't, but people need to shut the fuck up about Arizona. If it can work in Atlanta, it can work in Arizona.
I want the NHL to work in Atlanta so bad because
be
Atlanta
awesome.
is one of my favorite cities. It's like
Never been.
one of my favorite cities.
Never been to Atlanta.
And
it is awesome.
I say this affectionately, not as a white man or whatever. You said something about make it black as shit.
Make it black as shit.
Make it Atlanta as shit.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is making it black as shit. Do that.
Yeah.
Don't fucking plop in there like the good old hockey game. Like, we're a fucking sports team in Atlanta. Let's be a little Atlanta about it.
Vegas.
Quavo needs to drop the first puck, or drop the puck.
Who?
Quavo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want a very like rap heavy ownership group, but then I also want Elton John.
Yeah,
I want Elton John in the mix.
So yes, make it like it's black representation.
There should be a Waffle
Elton
House.
John is like a famous Atlantan.
People don't know this. Elton John lives in Atlanta.
Has a house in Atlanta.
Has a house in Atlanta.
That is his American residence.
That's incredible. I love that. I would love Elton John in the hockey world. That'd be incredible. But yeah, take notes from Vegas. Lean into like the city and
Walking Dead
the vibe.
stuff. Like,
Walking Dead, strip
CNN,
clubs.
CNN.
Magic City. Just sell, Magic City wings.
Yes.
They need a team like flavor of wings at Magic City. That's how you do it. You got to get into the strip clubs.
Yeah,
you'll be big.
I told you about the Chase Lounge in Tampa. They could have in Atlanta the Claremont Lounge. You know what that is?
No.
You know what that is? You've never been.
I've never been there. But you've told me about it many times.
Yes. One of our friends almost took us there one time. He described it to us. We said, no, thank you. And we didn't go. I ended up going later in life. The Claremont Lounge is there's like a seedy hotel that had this lounge where like all the servers were strippers, but they were regular people.
So what are strippers?
Yeah.
No, they were not like dancers who were like, this is like,
they're not performers.
They are, it is a very matter of fact, every day I'm just a naked person kind of walking around. Like they are naked servers the way like you walk around your home naked.
So they're
all body
they're
types.
Servers just naked.
All body types, not fucking like glistened up, not like dressed any sort of fancy way, hair, none of that. It's just like the people are fucking naked. It is a wild ass scene, and they closed this hotel because they were like, it's not good behavior.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But part of the agreement, I think, with the city was you gotta keep the lounge open. So this bar still exists where you go in there and it's just like, I don't know, you'll find like a 60-year-old naked person serving you. It's a wild scene.
Interesting.
But I'd say everybody should go. It's just a crazy fucking thing.
The Atlanta won my heart over the second that we went to some bar. I forget what it was called. And we got there. People were smoking inside. And I asked, hey, do you sell cigarettes here? And the waitress looked at us and like laughed in our face.
You're retelling a story. You weren't there for this. This is so uncomfortable.
I was pretty sure that we were there.
This happened to me and Tom Giles.
I thought that this happened.
I've told this story a million times. I feel bad.
Oh, I thought this happened the night that we went out with Randy and we sat in that corner and they brought loose cigarettes with each drink.
No, this is so
I thought
but we've done cigarettes
crossed
at bars in Atlanta. It has the same ending where we smoked cigarettes in a bar.
And they brought Lucy's with your drink orders when you asked for cigarettes.
That happened to me and Tom. We in Atlanta were just like, let's bring cigarettes to the bar and be Atlantans.
I for sure.
No, what happened to me?
I for sure remember the waitress bringing a loose cigarette after we asked.
This isn't embarrassing if you're misremembering. Me and Tom,
I could have sworn
we said, look, we were like, hey, people smoking here. Do you sell cigarettes? And she was like, no, sweetie. And we were like, okay, that makes sense. She was like, okay, I got some other tables to deal with. I'll be right back to take an order or something. She comes back with like 2 whiskeys and 2 loose cigarettes. We were like, yo, this person's cool. And on some Wolf of Wall Street shit, she came back like every 7 minutes with whiskey and cigarettes. And this was like an after work, let's grab a drink kind of thing that our boss had come with us and was like, I see where this is going, and left. We were like, oh, what do you mean you see where this is going? We both missed all the shit that we had to do the next day because we got blackout drunk and smoked a million cigarettes, and it was the best. But yeah, in Atlanta, you're just going to there with a pack of cigarettes and just be one of the gang.
Well, I do.
We've possibly gotten like Lucy's and stuff.
We definitely got Lucy's at that place because we didn't get cigarettes before going to that place. And I don't know which one of us would have just been carrying cigarettes on our person.
The only places where I have gone and bought cigarettes, I've long been a boy, cigarettes are delicious, et cetera, but I've like quit. Not that I ever smoked regularly, but I won't even do a cheeky cigarette. I'm like probably 5-6 years off of that. It just makes me feel so bad.
Oh man,
but
cheeky cigarette is like
I can rock with a good
peak of existence.
I mean, famously, when we were in Vegas,
yeah,
Pete gave me a drag off his cig, and I immediately won money.
There we go. It's good vibes.
It's magic.
This did happen in Atlanta between the two of us. We had our flight delayed on the last day of our Atlanta trip, and they famously undelayed the flight, which should be illegal.
Yeah,
should be illegal. You cannot undelay a flight. We had decided because our flight was delayed, we decided not to go to the airport. We hung out at the bar, and then we missed our flight because suddenly it's on time again.
They did a Blackhawks.
What?
They were like,
we're out of the playoffs. Just kidding. Nope. We're back
the playoffs start tomorrow. Are you good?
Yeah. And so the next flight we could get on was like 5 a.m. And so we had some time to kill without a hotel. And the bar that we were at, our server was like, hey, heard your debacle. Here's a solution. I know of like an illegal warehouse party going on that starts at midnight. You guys should roll through, and then you can just go to the airport.
She didn't even say that though. She was like, I know.
It was a guy, wasn't it?
They were like, I know. Either they didn't say illegal warehouse party. Like
we have
there's
a party.
Like a party that you could go to, but it's like a bar or something, and it just like did not sound sketchy.
Yeah,
we were like, cool.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Oh, well, I was going like this as you.
Yeah, you were wearing your Ween shirt.
I was wearing a different Ween shirt, and there was a guy at the bar who was like, hey, Ween rocks. And I was like, yeah, they do, buddy. We show up to this next party that is very
it was in a warehouse, and it was very illegal, very against like fire code, all the things. People were doing drugs in the open.
But it was like professionally put on.
Yes.
There was like
sounds like Atlanta.
It was legitimately in like a like like warehouse things where like there's like loading bays and shit like that, and there's nothing in this parking lot, and we roll up in an Uber and we're like, this can't be the right address that we were given. And we saw more and more people like showing up and going behind the building. You enter into like the back door, and you have to go through like, hey, write your name down, and in case anything happens, you can't narc on us.
When we opened the door, the Ween guy, he had just a very distinct look, was sitting on a couch surrounded by women and was like smoking a joint and was like, hey,
coolest guy
Ween guy. I was like, hell yeah. But this was the type of thing where if you told the cops about it and they showed up the next day at, let's say, 10 a.m., there wouldn't be a drop of clue that anything was there.
Be all gone. It was
wild.
The most insane thing.
So anyway.
So that's why Atlanta should have a hockey team, because Atlanta's a cool-ass city.
Imagine heading to one of those during an intermission.
I wanted to. Should they go back? Should they run it back with the Thrashers?
Yes. Yeah.
So Thrashers, I think you could do the Atlanta thing and call it the Thrashers. Yeah? You're looking at me like, no.
What do you mean do the
Atlanta thing?
I'm saying like make it what we're talking about. Like get Elton John, make it black as shit. Like Thrashers would go on all the type of like uniform and like new signage that I would want.
I feel like the Thrashers have picked up a bit of like cool factor since they've been gone in terms of sort of the lore behind the Thrashers.
I just don't really like their logo, to be quite honest.
They could revamp the Thrashers logo, though, then refresh.
Change. Like there's better, maybe there's better names.
Do what the Jets did.
Yeah.
Bring it back with I don't necessarily want to say better logo, but more updated logo.
All right, let's get out of here with the slate grade.
Wait. Before we do that, I did want to point out that after they put out the request for the formal expansion to Atlanta, Bill Daly came out and came out with a statement that I found very funny in its like tone. The league appreciates Anson's passion for bringing NHL hockey back to the Atlanta area, and he has certainly kept the subject on our radar screen for several years running. While, as we have made clear, we have no expansion-oriented process in place currently, it's always good to know that there is bona fide interest. That's like a...
This motherfucker won't shut up about it.
Like, congratulations, we see your request. Now go away.
Yeah.
Big
they
energy
sure are excited about it.
Yeah.
So we like that for them.
Before you get to slate grade, we need to bring it up because someone was asking about it. Chaos Chain.
Tonight, the Vancouver Canucks play the Colorado Avalanche, and there are Glenn Howerton voice implications because DJ has the Colorado Avalanche. He could possess the Chaos Chain tomorrow for the first time all season.
And someone was asking for us to explain our decor. That explains why there is a Vancouver Canucks banner in front of a Edmonton Oilers bobblehead, which on its face seems
strange,
a little confusing,
sinful, especially if you're a fan of one of those teams. But
okay, we got a slate grade presented by Game Time, and I'm starting to see predictions in the chat. But hey, hold off! You don't know where it's gonna go. We got 4 games tonight. 7:30 p.m. U.S. Kings at Blues, 7:30 p.m. U.S. Predators at Jets, 10 p.m. U.S. Capitals at Oilers, 10:30 p.m. U.S. Avalanche at Canucks. Let's note in the structure here, we don't have a single 7 p.m.er. This starts at 7:30 p.m. Given that we've already had a little daylight savings shenanigans this week, I don't know that this is the time to be throwing people off their game that much. So it's going to get docked a little structure-wise. I do like that you have your pick of the litter. 7:30 p.m. I think I'm probably watching Predators at Jets because that's 2 playoff-ish teams. Kings right now, got to see how they can keep their foot on the gas after smoking the Islanders the other day. I'm probably watching the Predators at Jets there, but really the moneymaker is Capitals at Oilers because as Sabres people, we want the Capitals to lose. And as oil men, we're oil men.
Yeah, I mean, from a hockey perspective, Avalanche at Canucks is the best game on the schedule. And I don't like the best game on the schedule being at 10:30 p.m. I like the 10:30 p.m. game being like this is a treat if you want it.
Especially when it's kind of going up against the same time. This is the old, hey, the headliner of the festival goes on at 8. Across the way, there's another band you like going on at 7:45. And it's like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? Shout out Vampire Weekend, who had that happen to them. So they opened their set by playing A-Punk 3 times in a row. So they were like, if you're only here for A-Punk, here you go. We're going to play it 3 times in a row. Then you can go watch the other band.
Don't like this. Don't like this slate. Don't like the slate. Don't like the structure.
I love it. I love the structure. I'm a big 2-screen guy. You got 2 screens at 7:30, one at 10, one at 10:30. Every single game has like massive implications. It's either teams that are currently in a playoff spot or right outside of a playoff spot. Like all 4 really important games at, in my mind, a perfect time structure. I mean, I could do with it being like 2 7s and 2 10s, but
I don't see. I would have taken a 7 and a 7:30. Like
but
that way, you got this. You got the staggered intermissions.
Yeah, that's true.
You got one game hitting intermission.
Yeah, if you would have given me Preds Jets at 7, like that probably would have been perfect. But otherwise,
okay,
I like it.
We do have some breaking news on this slate.
They're adding a game.
No,
that'd be so funny.
The St. Louis Blues are having, I don't know what they would even call it or what kind of night it would be. They're doing some sort of 90s night tonight. So they are wearing, and we probably don't have time to get it to Sean or whatever, but just trust, they are wearing the Gretzky jerseys.
Wait, like the reverse retro?
Oh, boy, and they're playing the Kings and the Chevrons.
Yes. Are they really?
Oh, yeah, baby.
So, oh, shit.
Can you get those up there? Oh.
Oh, brother. All right.
Call me the goalie when we're playing the Predators because,
game.
Boy.
This is the Gretzky game.
Yes.
You've got 2 Gretzky jerseys going head-to-head here. This is going to look incredible. Are they wearing... They're wearing the blue ones, or are they wearing the red ones?
They, I believe, are wearing the blue ones.
Wait, so the red ones, was that the reverse retro?
Yes.
Okay.
The blue ones... but
when did they start wearing the blue ones?
In the 90s.
No, I know that, but like, when did they start wearing them again?
I think that this might be a one-off. I don't know if you're allowed to do that though.
Well, we've got a picture of Robert Thomas wearing it as part of this, as part of this promo.
Buddy, get ready to speak the Adobe Creative Suite because it's very possible that's a Photoshop.
Oh. There's no way, right? They wouldn't Photoshop
There's
that.
no way a Photoshop could be done with the uniform. Okay, this changes everything. So now you weren't ecstatic about this slate. Kings at Blues now, very aesthetically pleasing.
Yep.
Predators at Jets. Capitals at Oilers in a huge game. 10:30 Avalanche Canucks. I'm going to give this an A-. I like this one.
I've come around. The jersey matchup changed a lot of things for me. Moved the needle.
Whoa. Amazing. Why? Someone said I'm in the doghouse. Why am I in the doghouse? Why are they saying fuck me for?
I don't really know.
I think they wanted an A for this one. I was close to get, like, if you give me one more incredible, like, I don't know, if you gave me the fucking Lightning wearing the crazy ass Lightning jerseys, or if they all wore who did they wear the jerseys for? Like they all had like 1,000 on them or something. Someone's 1,000th game, or Hedman.
Yeah.
They
did it for Hedman. Yeah.
Hedman. If the Lightning were playing and they were all wearing the Hedman jerseys or something, or if you did like a Jackie Robinson Day shit, everybody's wearing 42. I get down with that.
Just looking at the notes, it is Kevin Hayes' 700th game and Pavel Buchnevich's 200th. They also did say in this article that it is the only time that they're wearing these jerseys this season.
Oh, wow.
So it is a
one-off.
one-off.
Pavel Buchnevich to celebrate the Rangers are going to put out another statement about Tom Wilson.
What was I going to say?
Chat did break the jersey news. That was from the chat.
Oh,
shout out,
goated.
Y'all.
Goated. I forget what I was going to say.
And the chat broke. They did break the grade. They predicted.
They didn't break the grade. They predicted the grade.
They broke it. I would say. I think they broke it.
I mean, I feel like the lines are awfully blurry because if you say it before, there's no real way to know if they predicted it or.
Yeah, but there's also no consequence. If this had gotten an A, then are people not going to trust that person in the chat anymore?
It's Pacioretty and Lazarus. You weren't saying it was happening. You just said signs were pointing towards an A-.
Well, this has been possibly my favorite What Chaos show ever. I couldn't tell you a thing about it, but I do know that we had a lot of fun. And we will be back tomorrow where we will recap this very aesthetically pleasing slate. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
We all silly like the mayor.